Hi, in this video we're going to install the WSUS service and also look at quotas. Now originally my thoughts were to install WSUS on a web server on our HOWWW server in our domain because you can't install WSUS on a domain controller. So HO1DC and HO2DC HODC1 and HODC2 are not available. Let's just use the web server. However, the web server is a 2016 server. Whoops, wrong password. And so 2016 is known to have quite a few problems with the WSUS service. So what we're going to do, this will come up and it'll tell us that it's a server 2016. So I would consider, while you could struggle through and troubleshoot a WSUS install on server 2016, it's not recommended. And so what I've done is I've gone back to my domain and I've put in a 2019 head office WSUS machine. I've just imported it from an appliance using a 2019. So you can see here it's a 2019. It's got 4 gigabytes of memory, 4 processors. It's got a 150 gig drive, and I could probably put in an extra drive just to put all of the WSUS stuff on it. So I'm going to create a new VDI, dynamically allocated. Yep, that's okay. 50 gigabytes. Let's just make it 100 gigabytes just for fun. Okay, choose that drive. There, I've chosen it. So now it's got an extra drive. And the network, I just need to make sure that that's connected to the head office server switch. So it's connected right beside the domain controllers. So let's start this machine up. And what we'll do is, this is a fresh install. What we'll do is we'll join it to the domain, make sure that it comes up okay in the domain, and then we'll add the WSUS service to it. So let's put this just under the web server. Don't need this anymore. The reason I've given it 4 gigabytes of memory and 4 processors is that in the WSUS server it'll use an internal database, and databases are traditional hogs for resources. So we could put it as a full SQL database, but for a small installation like this we're just going to use the Windows internal database. But you'll see that come up as we do the installation. Okay. So looking at our network diagram, our DC2's IP address, if I remember correctly, was about 3.3. Oh no, 0.3. So I'll make this 0.4. Okay. Okay, that's the graphics coming in. You can see it's using the VirtualBox installed graphics, which does a screen tearing when you first start. I often switch that back to the standard one, accept all the license terms. Okay, fresh install. And as as we join the domain for this, we'll change the name of it as well, so it can be done quite fast. Yes, now it would have got a an IP address from the DHCP server, but we want to static it to the 0.4. Okay, server manager, we don't want to manage it that way. Let's go to the local server. It's got the awkward name, and it's assigned via DHCP. So we're going to set that. Turn off the quality of service packet scheduler, because it only reserves bandwidth. So this is 192.168.0.4. It's a /26, that's 192. Default gateway is 192.168.0.1, and the preferred DNS server 192.168.0.2 and 3, which is HODC1 and HODC2. 168.0.3. Okay. No, we don't need to updates because our WSUS server will do the updates for us. Okay, so now we've got a static IP address. Let's do a refresh on that. And we'll also turn off the enhanced security configuration rubbish. The other thing that the installation of WSUS does is let's on the firewall. Let's turn all this stuff off for the moment. Okay, public network, the firewall is on. Okay, so firewall off, that's good. Okay, do a refresh on this. Should tell me that it's off. Yep, okay. So we're now ready to do the WSUS install. Manage, add roles. Normally skip this. So right down the bottom here is the WSUS. We'll add all of the features, which also includes IIS, so it turns this thing into a web server as well. And we'll go next, 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 and here's where it installs the Windows internal database and the WSUS. Like I said, you could, if you're in a bigger installation, you'd go for a full SQL server, but not in this case. Okay, so what we're going to do is set up the path for where we're going to put all of the updates. So right mouse click on the start, go to disk management. We've got a blank drive here. We'll call it master boot records, and then we'll make a new simple volume on it. Let's make it drive S for software updates or drive W for WSUS, either one. Let's go S. Next, and this is going to be WSUS drive. Okay, so there's our WSUS drive. and I'm going to open it, and on here I'm just going to create a new folder called WSUS storage, and I'll copy that, Control C, because that's what I'm going to put in here, Control V. Okay, next, and let's install it. Okay, so this can take a little bit of time because it's got a fair bit of work to do. .NET frameworks, RSAT, remote administration, a web server, and the Windows internal database, and then it does the SAS. It sort of goes through a whole pile of stuff before it actually gets there. Okay. So one of the things, I've started the installation of this, but I've been a little bit precipitous in that I haven't actually joined it to the domain yet. So let's do the installation of all of this stuff, join it to the domain, and then we'll do the configuration of it. So we probably should have joined it to the domain first before we started the install. You might think it's a standalone machine. So before we do any real configuration of it, we'll join it to the domain. So it looks like it's down to this sort of area. Okay, so we can see here that the installation has been successful, but I'm not going to run the post-installation tasks until I've actually joined this to the domain. So let's do that first. So you click on that, change the awkward name to head office WSUS, and the domain is gwmp bmw.local. And the right password. It's going to want to do a reboot. Welcome to the domain. Changing the primary. Okay, so I don't know why I got an error, but anyway, let's go to our domain controller and have a look at our Active Directory users and computers. And let's have a look at our computers. The WSUS, head office WSUS is in there, so that's fine. I think the error was probably because I was in the same subnet and I'd put the fully qualified name. Usually if you're in the same subnet as the domain controller, you just put the NetBIOS version of the name, which is without the .local. Just guessing there. So let's, this thing's restarted. We're going to start as a member of the domain this time. So we're going to go GWMP BMW /administrator. So we're just making sure that we're logging into the domain as the domain administrator rather than the local administrator. Okay, and we've done the we've added the WSUS stuff here, and we've got the launch the post installation tasks. Change the password. Yep. So let's we're in as the WSUS. It should come up. Yeah. So we're in as a domain member. Everything's all okay there. That's good. Okay. Back to the dashboard. Okay. So let's go launch the post installation tasks, and hope that we haven't upset things by doing things out of order. Windows is awfully fussy about doing things in the right order, so you know. So we should have the WSUS is down there. That's good. If we go into the WSUS, it should show us that that the configuration. So if I click on that, it shows that it's running. Okay, configuration required for the WSUS server. Post deployment configuration. Please wait while it's being configured. So the first part where we just did the install and then joined it to the domain, hopefully, because we hadn't actually done any configuration of the WSUS process yet, all we've done is install it. That now that it's doing the configuration, it's using the fact that it's now a member of the domain, and it's got a different, globally unique identifier and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we've got it just in the right order. Please wait while your server is configured. There is a possibility, of course, that the setup of the Windows internal database, for example, is assuming that we're using the old awkward name, because I've changed the name of this as I joined it to the domain. Okay, it says configuration successfully completed, which is good. Okay, so if we go to here, completed. Okay, so we go to tools. Tools, yep, it's us. Okay, so is the server firewall configured to allow clients? Oh, I turned the firewalls off. Can the computer connect to the upstream server? We don't have an upstream server. This is going to be it. The upstream server is going to be Microsoft Update. Do you have the user credentials for a proxy server if needed? Yep. Next. No, I don't want to join their improvement program. I'm going to synchronize from the Microsoft Update. I'm not going to use a proxy server, so I'm going to tap on Start Connecting. So this is where it contacts the upstream servers, which is, in our case, Windows Update, and sees what type of updates are available and all that sort of thing. I never checked that this thing would actually get out to the internet. I'm assuming that it does, because because we have got everything sort of set up in the right way. So if I go, iSetter, I'm going to get our setters. Yeah, there you go. So it's working. So there's no reason why this shouldn't work. DNS is working, gets out to the internet. There's no firewalls in the road, so it's to this part here, choose language, products and classifications. So we're just contacting the upstream server, which is the Windows Update service, Windows Update. And then we can choose these three things, configure a sync schedule. We're going to go manually sync, so it only happens manually. And then that finishes it. While this is happening, what we could do is set up a group policy that tells everyone in the organization where the update server is, this WSUS update server. So normally you would do that on in your group policy is the way to do this. Group policy. Okay. So I've got in here default domain lockdowns, and I was doing group policies against each of these things. That's right, I was. Okay, so I'm going to do a domain policy, and I'm going to go WSUS policy. GPO will do. Okay, so it's going to be this one here. It's against all authenticated users. And let's go back and see how we're going here. Okay, so while this is still connecting to the upstream server, we'll continue on with the group policy. So we're going to go edit. In the computer policies, I think it's in administrative templates. Windows components, there we go. And what we're doing is we're looking for the Windows update. Okay, so this is what we're after. Okay. So what we're going to do is, there's a lot of things here. Okay, this is the one we want. Specify intranet Microsoft Update Service location. And we'll do the frequency as well. I think they're the two you need. That's absolute minimum. So let's go into this. We're going to enable it. Okay, so here what we need to do is point to the web-based name. So it's http:// and mine's HOWSUS. WSUS. .gwmpbmw.local. Okay, we need to put the right port number though. 8350, I think the port number is. Whoops. Port number 8350. And we'll copy all of that, Control C, and put it into the statistics server as well. Yep. We don't have an alternate server. Okay, so we'll go apply and okay. Okay, so we also want to look at this configure automatic updates and the update detection frequency. So let's click on that, enable it, and you can change this, so auto download and schedule an install. So I don't tend to do this because I like to test the updates against some dummy machines before I actually apply it out to the production environment. So mine are going to be auto download and then notify for install. So it'll have it downloaded ready to go, and I can apply it against a specific computer or computers, and then test it if it's all okay, and then deploy it out to everybody else. So I'm going to use number 3. If you use number 4, which is auto download and then schedule, then you've got all this scheduling stuff here. You can do it every day, time of the day, a couple of times a week. That's once a month, that sort of stuff. So I'm going to leave it at number 3. So apply and go OK. And the other one I want to do is the update frequency. So I'm going to enable this, and I'm just going to put like every hour. I'll do. So it'll check every hour against the update server. Now in a production environment, you might want to do this less frequently, maybe once a day, that sort of thing. But for us, that's 1 hour. Okay, so that's my group policy. I've defined where it goes and the port number 8350. I'm pretty sure that's the right port number. I'll soon find out, I suppose, won't I? Okay. And okay, so that's the group policy for that. File and exit out. Okay, so let's whiz back to our SUS machine. It's still connecting. Okay, so we got our group policy done before it finished. Okay, I just checked the port number, and it's actually 8530, not 8350. So let's just go and check that I've put the right port number in here. Administrative templates, Windows components, down to the SUS server, Windows update, expand it right out. The location, yeah, I've got it around the wrong way. That's my dyslexia in there. It's 8530 instead of 8350. So make sure you get it the right way. 8530, not 8350. So 8530. That's the right number. Let's go apply and go OK. And this policy is going to apply to all authenticated users in the domain. Okay, so normally after this you'd do a GP update /force. so that everyone gets it. And the client machines will generally go back and check here every hour or so anyway. But if you want it to go faster, you can do a GP update force on the client machine and then test it. Okay, so we've got the group policy in place for that. And we're still waiting for the update service.